Welcome to the Secrets of the Cosmere. This is the second episode of our series dedicated to Elantris. If you haven't seen the first part yet, click on the card that will be appearing or look for the link in the description. The story continues right where we left it. In the instant that Prince Raoden, now cursed by the Shout and locked in the fallen city of Elantris, witnesses the impossible. One of the magical symbols, an Aeon, glows for a brief second. Just a flash, but enough to reignite a flame that seemed extinguished forever. Raoden, consumed by physical pain and the constant decay of his body, feels hope reborn. He clings to the possibility that the magic hasn't disappeared completely, but is instead sleeping or broken. Obsessed with understanding what he saw, he begins to draw aeons on the walls, in the dirt, with pieces of charcoal, stones, even with his own fingernails. But nothing works. The symbol vanishes every time. The light doesn't return. Something is missing, something beyond the simple drawing. Perhaps it's not the aeons that are wrong, but the world that surrounds them. Elantris is a city consumed by collapse. The streets are filled with echoes of a dead civilization, and, of its inhabitants, only fragments remain. The Elantrians drag themselves through the broken corridors, sunk in a physical suffering that never ceases, and in an apathy that is burying their humanity. There are no more structures, there is no more law. Some isolate themselves, waiting for the pain to drive them mad. Others, dominated by desperation, group together like hostile, merciless packs, trying to snatch what little is left. Raoden decides that if the magic cannot yet return Elantris to its glory, then he will be the one to rebuild it. Step by step. If he cannot heal, then he will serve the people. If he cannot save them all, he will at least give them a reason to keep breathing. He finds others willing to listen. Among them, a stout man, with coarse hair and skin that seems to have lost its natural color, taking on a dull grayish tone. His name is Galladon, cynical, a man of few words, but with a practical sense that balances Raoden's passion. He is one of the few who, from the beginning, decides to follow him in his crazy project of restoring the Elantrians' dignity. It's not a miracle, but it's a beginning. The new Elantris, as they call it, is nothing more than a few half-cleared streets and some organized corners. But something different can be breathed there, something akin to hope. Raoden becomes the heart of this small oasis. Though his body is broken, his mind continues to search for solutions. Every day, amidst the ruins, he talks with Galladon, plans improvements, looks for materials. They organize cleaning shifts, distribute the leftover food fairly, and build common spaces where violence is forbidden. For the first time since the fall, some Elantrians feel like they are part of something. Meanwhile, Sarene continues her political crusade. Every step she takes inside the labyrinth of Kay's nobles is carefully calculated. She earns the trust of the discontented, throws veiled barbs at King Raoden during banquets, and begins to organize more formal meetings with her new allies. She even resumes her fencing practice in public to draw the attention of the more reticent. Her presence becomes uncomfortable for many, fascinating for others. Raoden, realizing the danger Sarene represents, orders her to be watched more closely, but he cannot act openly without raising suspicion. The nobility begins to murmur. Some start to see in her not just a foreigner with heirs, but a possible alternative to the chaos. Hrathen, for his part, observes the situation with growing concern, not only due to Sarene's cunning, but also because of the uncontrolled fanaticism his own plan has unleashed through Dilaf, making him doubt his own methods. From his tower in the Derethi monastery, he analyzes Sarene's movements. The young woman represents an unpredictable obstacle, one he cannot eliminate as easily as the weak-willed. Hrathen decides to strengthen his alliance with Dilaf, the fanatical priest who, while dangerous, can channel the people's hatred. Dilaf begins to stir up the darkest rumors about Elantris. He speaks of trapped demons, of heresies, of divine punishments. His speeches, full of fervor, contrast with Hrathen's cold logic. But they work. Fear spreads through Kay, and with it, the influence of Shu-Dereth. As his refuge grows, Raoden begins to notice strange things. Some stone fragments show carvings that do not belong to the current Elantris. Incomplete lines, symbols that aren't quite aeons, but that evoke the same kind of power. He believes they might be remnants of ancient studies on magic. Despite the constant pain that keeps him from sleeping, he spends entire nights copying, comparing, and reflecting. His obsession begins to bear fruit. He discovers that the aeons, as they are drawn, are correct, but they don't work. As if the language were written correctly but in the wrong alphabet. Raoden deduces that it's not the formula that's failing, but the context. The city, the land itself, might have changed. Galladon listens to him with skepticism, but remains by his side. They both find more Elantrians interested in collaborating. Even former members of the violent gangs begin to consider joining. Outside, Sarene decides to do something risky. She proposes a diplomatic visit to the gates of Elantris. Her argument, to show the people that there is no longer anything to fear from the cursed. Iadon firmly opposes it, but his refusal only fuels the noble's curiosity. Hrathen, upon hearing of this, sees an opportunity for a public confrontation. He also presents himself in the square next to Elantris, surrounded by soldiers and followers. The tension is palpable. Sarene is not intimidated. With firm words, she accuses Hrathen of manipulating fear to gain power. He, in turn, accuses her of blasphemy and of endangering the people. The verbal confrontation is intense. Although neither one fully wins, Sarene achieves her goal. It becomes clear to everyone that Elantris is not the nest of horrors they describe, and that Hrathen is not the savior he proclaims to be. Shortly after, Sarene begins to suspect that the rumors about her are not spontaneous. She discovers that several nobles who previously supported her have received threats or promises of fortune to withdraw. She knows she cannot trust anyone completely. In her determination to discover more about Hrathen's movements, Sarene makes an unexpected decision: to enter Elantris. Not in a symbolic way, but to actually cross its gates and see for herself what is happening inside. The day arrives. Dressed in a discreet cloak and accompanied by a small group, she presents herself before the walls. The guards, though they hesitate, have no clear orders to stop her. Sarene passes through the gates and enters the dead city. What she finds shocks her. It's not monsters she sees, but people, broken, in pain, but human. Many flee upon seeing her. Others watch her with distrust. Only one approaches her, a tall man with a gaunt face, but a living gaze. His long silver hair falls in increasingly sparse strands. He wears mended clothes with dignity, and on his face, despite the scars of the Shaiud, there is something familiar. Sarene asks his name. He replies, Spirit. Without knowing it, she has found the man she has been searching for since she arrived in Kai. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to share it, give it a like, and subscribe. We'll see you in the final episode of this Elantris series. Activate the bell so you don't miss the last chapter. Thank you so much for making it to the end, and we'll see you in the next video.